YouTube, when you play as the Vampire Coast, the question is pretty simple. It's to pew or not to pew. Right? I mean, those are your options. You can try and go melee, or you can try and shoot your opponent into submission. And we've got two opposing worlds for you in the same replay here. That's right. So this is a literally bring a knife, or in this case a sword or polearm, to a gunfight. And we're going to see which Vampire Coast comes out victorious. That's right, this is an internal struggle between two Vampire fleet captains. One who believes that melee is the way of the future, and another who believes that firearms are the way of the future. And which one will win out? Should be interesting. It's going to be a crazy battle. So stick here, and I'll get you something real good. Let's take a look from overhead to get a feel for the battle. Up front for the melee Vampire fleet captain. He's a Vampire fleet captain with a polearm, and he's got some Tide of Skuld deckhand mob, and then just some standard deckhand mobs as well. There's two of those on either side, and then there are some polearm deckhand mobs, some fellbats, which are about to be taught a lesson in pain and suffering via hot lead. If fellbats feel such suffering, I think they're undead units, so they may not really care. But yeah, when you're hoping to hold down artillery, you can't do it when there's this many deckhands around. It's just going to be a shooting gallery. So it's open season on fellbats, folks. I hear the meat is absolutely delicious, in case you're wondering. Delicious, no question. So yeah, the other army is just a crapload of zombie pirate gunnery mob with handguns and just pirate mobs. So the handguns are longer range, armor piercing. The standard ones are shorter range, pistol armed variants. There are 3 carronades in the pack with substantial upgrades to improve their accuracy and damage output. You can see they've already destroyed a Lampreys Revenge, so there is significant pain being dished out. There's a Vampire Fleet Captain, Lore of Death, and then the Lore of Vampire Fleet Captain here with a pistol. So he is coming into battle. So Warner, handguns! If you're watching, this one's for you. So as the main lines collide, it's going to be a whole lot of pew-pew and then chop-chop. So you can see that the lines are colliding. And the gun units are faring quite well right now. They don't have really any stats in melee, to be fair, but they're hoping to just hold while the shooting continues. Now, the real threat for the gun army here is the Sirens and the Depth Guard that are coming in on the flanks, as well as these Morn Ghouls. There are some Scurvy Dogs way out on the right flank for Team Gun here. You can see that despite having caused massive damage early, once you do close the distance and get into melee, you gotta be quick. You gotta tie down the right units. You can see the Vampire Fleet Captain standing here himself, picking off rotting Prometheans. And we got some polearms trying to push their way into the back. But I love the way that the firearm player deployed here all over the place, basically, making it hard to stop all the shooting, plus leaving the cannons in the very back surrounded by polearms, allowing them to fire for as long as possible. It did allow him to completely drop all of the large units, like the Promethean gunnery mob, and those would have been devastating in melee up against just handguns. But the Sirens are going to be some serious trouble. Nothing on the shooting team really has a great way to deal with them. They are 80% resistant to physical attacks, and there's not a whole lot of magical attacks here for the shooting team. So you can see the Sirens now going to come in and start to do their damage. Now, Fear and Terror not going to play a role here, because these are all undead factions. So here comes the Depth Guard and the Morn Ghouls. And let's see how it plays out. There are still some zombie pirate gunnery mobs who are free, and the melee team makes a bit of a mistake here by piling everything into the melee rather than trying to pin down more of the units that are in the background firing. And this will allow those units to continue to fire. Here we've got a 1v1 going on between polearm and pistol. So the polearm fleet captain was winning significantly, so getting into a melee fight with a melee character, probably not what you should do, but look at this. All kinds of abilities, Invocation of the Heck, and that fleet captain with the pistol is right back in it and fleeing away to fight and shoot from another position. Now the Morghuls are getting all tangled up in polearms. It's not going to be great for them. And since the Sirens can't chain route these units, they get bogged down for a long period of time. Now the Depth Guard are really going to do well in this fight. They just absolutely excel versus low armor targets, and the battlefield is rich with them. You can see they've already picked up a chevron close to a second. The pistol-armed fleet captain has now got an advantage. He's lured his opponent out. He's being shot by pirate gunnery mob and shot by the fleet captain himself. And now these polearms that don't route will start to show their value. They're bogging down the melee team, and not all of the guns were killed. And so as they continue to fire, look, there's even a summoned one here as well. As they continue to fire, they will do more damage. This melee blob needs to split up. The Depth Guard can easily tie down all the polearms back here and defeat them. And then you would be able to free up the other units to go tie down more gunnery mob, because you can see, like right here, these polearms are getting shot to death. And the Sirens and the Depth Guard both being held here, where we could peel the Sirens off and go here. So right now, it is some mistakes on the part of the melee team, and the gun team is taking full advantage of it. The cannons were causing tremendous damage, so I'm not really surprised that the melee team here is going straight for the big guns, because they don't want to take that damage from them. That is understandable, but you definitely have to split up your forces and try and throw what's appropriate in the right place. Look, here's another summon unit here, and it's just going to be firing away into the backs of all these Sirens. The Vampire Fleet Captain is here to support with leadership. And now you can see that more of the gun units are getting tied down, so the melee team starts to look like things might be cutting in their favor, potentially at this point, especially since you've got this Depth Guard just chewing through here. Look at this, 125 kills, well on their way to a third chevron. But this unit back here is a problem right now. One of the Sirens needed to break loose and get to it. This unit is causing tremendous damage by just being allowed to point-blank unload into that fight. Over here, this Depth Guard, 220 kills, but only gaining its first chevron here, because it's been cutting through cheap units. And then look, the Sirens just absolutely hacking their way through this fight as well. And as I'm looking at this battle at the moment, I don't know how the gun team can pull themselves out of this one. They did a tremendous job with their deployment. They shot a lot of stuff up, but I don't know if they have enough guns left that can stay free to fire, and how you deal with the Sirens without a whole lot of magic attack to do anything about it. See, these Sirens are going to peel off and try and stop this gunnery mob, which they should. This gunnery mob has 115 kills. When you consider the price of these, that is incredible. This one right here was able to do some good damage for just being a summoned unit, so definitely worthwhile. Look at that! Taking out the Vampire Fleet Captain with the polearm. What a play. And that leaves the Vampire Captain here to fight the Depth Guard, but they're being held here. Look at this. Just this play by the Fleet Captain with the pistol, holding both of these units now. This one dies, but then bringing in the support at just the right moment and summoning another unit of pirate gunnery mob. So this is very, very timely here, and the Sirens now having to attack on two fronts. The Depth Guards start to get overwhelmed because now there's leadership involved. And a pretty clutch play here by the Vampire Fleet Captain with the pistol. So this fight was easily swinging in favor of the melee team, and now it kind of threw it up in the air. It's still going to be very close. So these Sirens and this Depth Guard are going to be substantially powerful units to get caught up in this late game fight. The Fleet Captain with the pistol is not going to be great, nor will the Vampire Captain. I mean, they are leadership units though, so we'll see. There's a lot of Sirens. And now the Depth Guard are here, so this one is going to come down to the wire, folks. Absolutely come down to the wire. I feel like that the melee team here did a pretty good job overall, but definitely needed to spread out more. They had a lot of fast units, and they may have been able to avoid this close call. I don't know, because we've seen some good plays by the pistol team here as well, and it's done a lot of good for them. Let's check out what the situation looks like. The fact that these two units are leaders are playing a heavy role in this battle, and despite the almost 300 kills, the leadership just can't hold together because they lost their lord, and Team Pistol wins this one. Team Gun, Mortar, Handguns. This is for you. This is for Warner. For you all who don't know, Warner is a moderator on my Discord and a big part of the community. So, and he loves handgun units in the game. So, I figured he would definitely appreciate this one, and I appreciate Stormrunner sending this one in. His nameless opponent here, he who shall not have a name. That's right. Who needs a name anyway? What's in a name? So yeah, this is an interesting battle. I myself really I don't play the Coast a lot, but when I do, I don't often Vampire Coast, but when I do, I prefer handguns. The most interesting vampire fleet captain in the world, folks. So yeah, here you go. This is how the fight turned out. Like I said, I really think that the melee team had a legit chance here. Don't send the Fellbats in early, okay? You're going to get your Rotting Prometheans jacked by the cannons. So you had two options. One, you could hide them behind the hill and wait. Now that will probably transfer the fire of the carronades either to your Lord or the Depth Guard, so I don't know how that works out. But you got a few units here that are going to be absolutely critical. Sirens and Mournghouls and Fellbats should all be going after Gunnery Mob and Handgun Gunnery Mob. The other units, so like these Deckhand Mobs, should be absorbing fire, and then you'd want to bring in the Depth Guard to get after the Pole Arms. The Pole Arms would get absolutely chewed to pieces by the Depth Guard. You can see that the Depth Guard, I mean, just ransacked whatever they were attacking, did a fantastic job. But they're also vulnerable, obviously, to the amount of gunfire here. Now, I think a couple things were pretty clutch here. The getaway by the Fleet Admiral with the pistol, that moment where he was about to die to the Fleet Admiral with the polearm, able to pull out of that fight at the absolute last moment, use all of those abilities and get away, ended up clutching this battle for the pistol team. So the pistol vampire managed to just at the right moment get out of there. No, folks, I'm not dying. I don't have coronavirus at the moment for whatever reason. My allergies are bothering me. In any case, we've got, yeah, all the final statistics here. So this one was fun. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, get down in the comments. What do you think? Are you in Team Melee? Are you in Team Handgun? So basically, are you on Warner's side or are you on the melee side? I don't know. Personally, I prefer playing the Vampire Coast in a gun-heavy fashion. That's just because I find it entertaining. It's one of their capabilities that you can do. But clearly, they also have some fun melee units. Sirens are one of them. Depth Guard are a lot of fun in campaign. They're a little harder to use in multiplayer, but they are a lot of fun because they dish out such tremendous damage to unarmored units. They can just kill for days. Anyway, get down, leave your comment, tell me which team you're on, how you would have played this, and if you liked the video, hey, go click that thumbs up. It is a small thing. It takes like 3 seconds, but it makes a huge difference to my channel. If you want to support the channel, it doesn't cost you anything to make a comment or click a thumbs up, or even click the thumbs down if you didn't like it. That's fine too. I just like the interaction and love to have you all help support me that way. Anyway, HeirofCarthage signing out for now. I will see you all soon with some more Total War Warhammer 2 action.